10 most heavily protected African presidents. Since they are prominent figures in charge of the government and welfare of their nations and its people, presidents typically operate under strict security measures. As a result, they are open to a range of security risks, such as attempts at assassination, political violence, and terrorism. One of the state's most important duties is to protect the president and other important public figures, and security precautions are taken to lessen the dangers. African presidents are more susceptible to security risks because they travel more frequently, both domestically and abroad. To guarantee their safety and the safety of their entourage, stringent security measures are implemented, such as physical protection, intelligence collection, and surveillance. Ensuring the safety of the nation's leader, maintaining the continuity of government, and advancing stability and security within the country all depend on strict security measures surrounding presidents. In this video, we'll be presenting the 10 most heavily protected African presidents. If you're new here, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications in order not to miss out on any of our subsequent videos. Now, let's get onto the topic. 10. Alassane Ouattara, President of Ivory Coast. Alassane Ouattara is the 5th president of the Ivory Coast, having assumed office in 2010. Right now, Mr. Ouattara is among the most well-protected leaders in Africa. Security guards with a lot of guns accompany him when he enters and exits the nation on official business. Until he is no longer visible to the public, heavily armed presidential protection follows his vehicle on foot. One of the most spectacular presidential motorcades is created when he travels with a convoy of armored land cruisers and fast motorcycles. 9. King Mohammed VI, King of Morocco. The King of Morocco is Mohammed VI. Having succeeded his father, King Hassan II, to the throne on July 23, 1999, he is a member of the Alawi family. Following his kingship, Mohammed changed the Mudawana family code and enacted several other reforms that gave women greater authority. Mohammed ranks 8th among Muslims worldwide in terms of influence, according to the Royal Islamic Strategic Studies Center. Throughout Africa, the King of Morocco is among the most well-protected rulers, not just in the Maghreb. His presidential car, a Mercedes 600 Pullman with armor, is in Morocco. His motorcade typically consists of several Mercedes-Benz S500 and Range Rover models, an ambulance, a BMW S series with a communications unit, and a number of fast-moving motorcycle riders when he visits hilly terrain. King Mohammed can afford to hire more security because he is the richest president of Africa. 8. Emmerson Mnangagwa, President of Zimbabwe. Since November 24, 2017, Emmerson Dambudzo Mnangagwa, a politician from Zimbabwe, has served as president of his nation. Born on September 15, 1942, he is the 3rd president of Zimbabwe to have been elected. He is currently one of the most well-protected leaders in Africa, having succeeded Robert Mugabe. Mnangagwa goes by the nickname the Crocodile, after an animal known for its cunning and brutality in Zimbabwean folklore. Opponents claim he was acting as Mugabe's political enforcer when the late leader repressed dissent. The president of Zimbabwe must be closely guarded due to the political and civil unrest that has occurred there in recent years, particularly when he is traveling within and outside the country on official business. Apart from swift police motorcycles, the president is accompanied by a considerable number of presidential guards while riding in an armored limousine. 7. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of Nigeria. Born in the colony and protectorate of Nigeria, which is now Nigeria, on March 29, 1952, Bola Tinubu, whose full name is Bola Ahmed Asiwaju Tinubu, is a politician and accountant from Nigeria who was recently elected in to be the country's president in 2023. It is crucial that the president has strong protection in a nation torn apart by insecurity. Tinubu's security detail entails a fast, armored Mercedes-Benz, and multiple police motorcycles as his presidential vehicle. There are numerous motorcades in his convoy, which is the biggest and most spectacular on the continent. It's very difficult to get inside President Tinubu's orbit. A dedicated security guard and a fast-moving security motorcade constantly ensure his protection. For his own safety and security, he always travels with over 10 bodyguards when on official business trips or political missions abroad. 6. Cyril Ramaphosa, President of South Africa. The fifth democratically elected president of South Africa is Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa, a businessman and politician, trade unionist and former anti-apartheid activist. Ramaphosa leads the African National Congress in addition to this role. He is among the most well-protected presidents on the continent, having been elected president of South Africa in 2019. Heavily armed presidential protection officers watch over his motorcade. Former roles held by Ramaphosa include Secretary General to Nelson Mandela during his presidency of the African National Congress, ANC, head of the National Planning Commission, and Deputy President under President Jacob Zuma. According to our list, he is among the African presidents who require the most security. Ramaphosa prefers driving a crossover over riding in a regular car or an SUV, in contrast to previous presidents. Using specially ordered or customized PMPB cars, he organizes large motorcades and exhibition riders. 5. Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, President of Egypt. Former military commander and politician Abdel Fattah el-Sisi is the sixth and current president of Egypt, having served in that capacity since 2014. Sisi served as Egypt's Director of Military Intelligence from 2010 to 2012, and as Defense Minister from 2012 to 2013. From 2013 to 2014, Sisi was Egypt's Deputy Prime Minister. He served as a general in the Egyptian military before retiring in 2014. Of all the African leaders, the President of Egypt enjoys one of the highest levels of security. Even though he is the one in charge of the country, he does not tolerate any mistakes when it comes to his own safety. Likewise, his presidential automobile is a Mercedes S-Class with a unique black number plate, and the fact that his nation has one of the greatest military forces on the continent is enough to assure him of it. More than 10 specially trained bodyguards accompany Abdel Fattah whenever he is seen in public. Several armored Mercedes-Benz cars, Land Cruisers, security motorbikes, and a sizable contingent of Special Forces personnel make up his motorcade. 4. Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda. Since 2000, former military commander and politician Paul Kagame has presided over Rwanda as its fourth president. He was previously the commander of the Rwandan Patriotic Front, RPF, a rebel group with its headquarters in Uganda that invaded Rwanda in 1990 and was involved in hostilities during the Rwandan Civil War. He also led the military operation that put an end to the Rwandan genocide. When he served as President Bizimungu's vice president and Minister of Defense from 1994 to 2000. The year the post of vice president was eliminated, he was recognized as Rwanda's de facto leader. Because of his efforts to highlight poor African leadership and the detrimental influence of the West on African politics, he is recognized as the most beloved and well-liked president in Africa. 3. Paul Biya, President of Cameroon. Paul Biya is the President of Cameroon. In addition to being the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, he serves as the Executive Head of State and de facto Head of State of Cameroon. He uses the state's authority. He is one of Africa's most powerful leaders and has held the position for 40 years. He is traveling in a $50,000 USD Range Rover Sentinel. He occasionally takes trips in his armored limousine. President Paul Biya has one of the best motorcades in all of Africa. Mercedes-Benz S-Class cars and fast Land Cruisers make up his convoy. 8 specially chosen bodyguards run on foot at either side of his car to provide heavy security when he is out in public. There are occasions when a fleet of forces follows him. He is therefore thought to be among the most well-protected presidents in Africa. 2. Mamadi Doumbouya, President of Guinea. Born on March 4, 1980, Mamadi Doumbouya is a military commander from Guinea who has been acting as the interim president of the nation since October 1, 2021. Doumbouya was the leader of the coup that overthrew Alpha Condé as president on September 5, 2021. He is a member of the Guinean Special Forces Group and a former French legionnaire. Because he is somewhat knowledgeable about security, he doesn't put up with any bullshit. The head of Guinea's motorcade is a meaty figure, not in the sense of luxury, but rather of valor. He travels by air in helicopters and on the ground in Humvees. A horde of bodyguards surround him and will stop at nothing to protect him. 1. Ibrahim Traoré, President of Burkina Faso. Currently the most protected African president happens to be the youngest. At just 34, Colonel Ibrahim Traoré is a Burkinabe head of state emerging from the armed forces. And since the coup on September 30, 2022, which overthrew interim President Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, he has been acting as the nation's acting leader. At 34 years old, Traoré is the youngest state leader in history to hold office and is regarded as a straight shooter. In reaction to the derogatory remarks made by Ghana's president towards Burkina Faso, he recently withdrew the nation's ambassador to Ghana. He is under the guard of a distinguished military elite group, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He doesn't travel much, but when he does, he is escorted by a fleet of armored cars to far-off places like rooftops, trees, and people wearing mufti robes. That brings us to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Please be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and let us know in the comments section your thoughts on which presidents you felt were to make this list. The best comments will be pinned.